G'day everyone, how you going? Welcome to another video. This time it's a repair video, and the computer we're repairing is this one here. And I've invested in a lapel mic, so hopefully now things will be a little bit clearer in my voice, so you can hear me quite well. But yeah, back to this computer. So the reason it's in, the customer said that it's overheating pretty much in idle. Not long after they turn it on, the temperatures just climb and climb and climb, and eventually it overheats. And she did tell me that it was built by a young fella who seemed to know a little bit about computers, and then built a computer for someone, and then everyone started going, "Oh, you can build me one too," and then he kind of got overwhelmed. And I think that's why there's so many mistakes with this machine. So I'll just go over some of the things I've just spotted even before I take off any parts. So I don't know what this case is. I don't know who makes it, but it looks like a lot of other gaming cases. It's had a glass side, and it's got like a door system. Say that this is a door system on the other side too. She said the graphics card was sagging, and she put this underneath it to stop it sagging. So that's already an interesting little thing. I'll get her a proper one. That's all good. Yeah, but I noticed straight away, and that if I swing this around, the liquid cooler is mounted on the back wall, and it's blowing air to the back wall. And if I swing it back this way, you'll see that the back wall has this tiny little vent that it's trying to push all that hot air through, and that vent is also got a magnetic fly screen across it, even more restricting the air. So, and then on the roof there's two fans, and both of them have their frames pointing down, which means the air is pulling down into the case instead of pulling up and taking the hot air out. So it's basically all going against keeping this machine cool, unfortunately. And that's just the surface stuff I've seen. Customer also did tell me that the memory was in the first and second slots on the 4-slot part, and she was having trouble, and when she moved them to the second and fourth, it was okay. So once again, not populating the RAM correctly causes problems. So just a lot of silly mistakes, and I wouldn't know anything about that.
Right.
But anyway, let's get a bit closer to the case, and I'll pull off the liquid cooler head and have a look. I'm expecting to find either not enough paste or it's not sitting right. But these MSI core liquid coolers, the early versions, there was a problem with them because I had one myself, and the pump head would fail. So even though it's showing RPMs, it would actually not be working correctly. What happens is the liquid doesn't circulate very well, and then the computer overheats. So anyway, let's get inside and we'll get this head off and have a look. Alright, so I've set up the camera so you can see inside here, and so let's get this liquid cooler head off and see what we're dealing with. Because it's a 2-screw mounting system, it's quite easy to screw down one side and then unevenly squish down, so it's a good possibility that's what's happened, but we'll confirm it in a sec. Oh dear, yep. So as you can see, there is paste there, but it's not a lot, and it's very dry, and it does look like the way it's mounted has pushed down on this part here, but not squished down here, so he's not got full contact. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to put fresh paste on, screw it down correctly, and then retest the temps and see if they climb still. If they still climb like before, I'd say the pump head's probably gone and we're just going to get a new liquid cooler. But if it stabilizes and runs fine, then that's it, that's the solution. All right, so let's get this cleaned up. It's one of the minor downfalls of the AMD bracketing. It's only on certain models you get this two bracket thing. I prefer the 4 secure points because you get it more even. It's a lot easier to get it right. Alright, so we'll just place this in position. Okay, give it a bit of a squish and wiggle. With this sort of CPU, because the pins are on the actual CPU, do not drill down these screws really hard because you will bend the pins 100%. Alright, so I'm just going to go bit by bit, keeping it even. Alright, that went on fairly even. So now we need to do a test and see if it, at idle, gets really hot still. So I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so I've gone into the BIOS and I'm just watching the temps. And as you can see there, the CPU core is sitting at 52, 53 degrees. Which is to be expected with a Ryzen. They idle a little bit higher. Yesterday when I did this test, it would climb up to 70 plus degrees without doing anything, just sitting in this screen. So I would say what I did seems to have fixed it. And if we get that liquid cooler radiator in a better position, I bet you the temps will get even better. So we may not need to change out the liquid cooler after all. We just need to put the right paste on and then mount it correctly. And yeah, it's amazing what can happen. It is starting to climb a little bit now. I'll just keep watching it a bit more, because it might make a liar out of me or something.
A few moments later.
Okay, where to start with this? The temps seem to stay okay, so I thought I'd just start moving the radiator to the front, but then I realized moving it to the front was stupid because the front was solid and didn't have much ventilation at all. And then the next thing, my mic, when I looked at the recording, my mic was distorting and sounded like a bit of a robot, and I later figured out why. So we're going to skip ahead to my future self where I address all these problems that I discovered.
Great Scott! I know, this is heavy.
A bit of an update on this job. I had a problem with the new lapel mic and it wasn't sounding very normal. and I sounded like a transformer robot voice, and discovered that the wireless signal was getting interfered by my router that's at the back of the room. It was just overpowering it basically. So I've shifted everything away from there, so we shouldn't get that problem. But it did mean I lost some audio as to what I was doing with this computer. As an update, I couldn't mount the radiator on the front because the front is a solid panel and there's only like a slit here, a slit there on each side, plus the little slit down the bottom to let air in. It's just really restricted. The only real place I could move the radiator was up to the roof, so that's what I did. And then I had trouble with the hose not wanting to go the way I thought it would, so yeah, I had to rejig this thing a few times before I got it right. It took about an hour, only to find out when I turned it on, the pump started grinding and making horrible noises. So we're going to basically ditch this liquid cooler, get rid of it, it's faulty, and I've ordered a brand new DeepCool 360mm liquid cooler. Unfortunately, people in America, you won't be able to buy that particular cooler, but here in Australia they're readily available. So, and I'll mount that on the roof because that's the only place where we're going to get reasonable airflow, but it's still not the ideal because you're still going to draw some of the hot air from inside the case through the radiator, but the other options of the front and side just aren't options because the way the case has been designed. And I looked this case up and it's called a Dark Flash XL22 or something, and the only place I could find where I could buy it was on Amazon. So I'm guessing it's just one of these small Chinese companies selling gaming cases that they've come up with. But yeah, it's not very well designed. So if you ever do see this case for sale and you think, oh, that might be all right, don't buy it, okay? And then yeah, after we get the liquid cooler and I fit it in, then I'll give it a bit more of a dust out and we'll fix this sagging GPU issue with a proper stand, not this weird little temporary option that the customer was using. And then we'll also check the memory's okay, because she mentioned that stability issues in terms of memory. So yeah, I think once we get all that done and give it a good tidy up, we'll probably do a BIOS update because that will probably help with RAM. But just make sure it's all hunky-dory. I think this machine should be okay. I still have my doubts that these 140s are really going to help much because they're just not going to be able to pull in much air because of the restrictions of the front, but there's nowhere else really to put them. If I put it in the side, it'll be even more restricted. So we'll just go with that and see if it makes a reasonable difference. So once I've got the new liquid cooler and I've got everything sort of tidied up, I'll come back to you and we'll do some tests and benchmarks and stuff.
Doc, calm down, okay? Just calm down. It's me, it's Marty.
No, it can't be you! I sent you back to the future!
3 days later.
Alright everyone, had to jump ahead a bit because the job's almost done and running out of time, so I haven't been able to show you everything I was doing for this repair, but as you can see, I've now fully completed it. Turned out the motherboard also had damage from liquid. And that was why it was unstable. with the memory. So yeah, the guy that built this for them made a lot of mistakes. So we ended up with fans on the roof blowing down, the liquid cooler is mounted in a way it wouldn't breathe. Yeah, there was screws missing off the motherboard. There was no proper stand for anti-sag on the graphics card. Graphics card didn't have all the screws on it either. The way that it was wired was actually messy and didn't really help things. So yeah, a lot to do on it, but I've given it a really good clean now. So I got all the dirt off the roof, which is where now the liquid cooler is blowing up, because that's the best place for it to get air, because this little vent down the side here is just not going to cut it. And the front panel, as I've shown before, there is just no ventilation or intakes except for little slits down the side of it. So not very good. So this case is terrible, but she did say she may get a new case for me later on. The liquid cooler put in was this, the LE360 V2, and it was actually really good liquid cooler for the price. I got it for about 105 Australian, so very good price, and the temperatures dropped significantly once I did that. As you can see, it used to breed about 56 degrees even when that liquid cooler partially worked. When it didn't work, it was up in the 70s, but now you can see it's dropping down to like 30, 33 there, 32. Eventually it'll sit around 30 when it's doing nothing. So massive difference. Yeah, so 100% that liquid cooler was toast. Go in the bin. As was the motherboard, because of the damage by the liquid. So what I'll do now is I'll just quickly run the bench test, because I'm going to make sure the video card's okay anyway. Okay, I'm still rushing through trying to get this done before the customer comes, but as you can see, it's running an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X with 32 gig of DDR4 RAM, and yeah, so I'm about to give it a go. Alright, I got superposition starting up. Customer's going to be here in like 15 to 20 minutes, so I don't have a lot of time here. So it's a 3070 with 8 gig of VRAM in it. So I'm going to come in and so it's getting about 69 average. So compared to some of the modern cards, it's not that great, but the games she plays obviously not that taxing. So it should be fine for what she does. Temps are good, sitting around 69 degrees under load. So we'll just let this finish up and run through, and I'll come back when the score's up. Alright, so there we go, there's the score, 8,481. So yeah, not what I call a massive score, but some of the games I see on there are like Final Fantasy VII, things like that, Spirit City, or World of Warcraft, Stardew Valley. So not games that are really, really taxing, so it's probably why it works fine for her. There we go, so after all that, we got it working and corrected all mistakes. Yeah, massive problems, ending up with a new liquid cooler and a new motherboard, because the motherboard was damaged from some kind of liquid. Who knows where it came from, but it wasn't the liquid cooler that was in there because I couldn't find any leaks, so not sure where it came from, but maybe I'll find out when I talk to them when they come to pick up. But there you go, that's it for this repair. Should be another satisfied customer, and until the next repair, I'll see you later. Bye for now.